Hello everyone, Amy Chowgirl here, or you might know me as Winslet Muse on Tumblr. Today I'm going to be giving a quick tutorial on just some tips and tricks for colored pencil work. It's a lot of fun and it's a very interesting medium to use. A lot of people kind of find it challenging because it's like if you do the colors wrong then there's not really any going back. With a pencil you got erasers and you can go back. But I find that colored pencil work is actually a lot of fun. And if you can do it right, then it's very rewarding in the long run. So first off, getting started, what type of pencils to use? I use Prismacolors. This is my tin. It's Prismacolor Premier. It's a 72 pack. They're quite expensive, but they are very worth it if you can get them. I'd save up. You can even buy these like one at a time in the store, but I would not suggest that. Just do that if you're like running low on any certain pencil. But these are very worth it. I think full price, they're around, like a 72 pack is like 150, I think, somewhere around there. I got mine on sale because of Christmas, so I suggest buying them around holidays or anything. Any other type of color pencils, really anything works. Artist grade or better, so Prismacolors such as these, they really work well, and I love them. Now, getting started, what else do you need to know? When you start, it's very important to first make a list of your different colors. I have a list here. This is just so you get to know, okay, which colors look like what. It's very important that you do that because you don't want to get into coloring and then all of a sudden you realize that, oh, this color is not the color I thought it was. We often get that with like the violet crayon where it actually turns out to be purple instead of blue. So be careful of that. It's very important that you make that list so that you know which ones are which. Later on you don't really use it as much because you'll understand which pencils am I going to be using, which ones are important, and so on. Now, next off is very important is for artist grade pencils like Prismacolors, never use a mechanical sharpener. Make sure all your pencils are sharp. If you do not use a mechanical sharpener, you might as well be throwing money down the drain. You might as well just take your money and put it in the sharpener itself. Because these pencils, I'm not sure about the very thins, but these ones are very soft tips. If you use the pencil sharpener, like a mechanical one that just shreds through like regular HB pencils, these pencils aren't as hard, so they break very easily. I've often experienced this before I knew this, that the inside would end up breaking and I'd sharpen it a million times and still end up breaking. So instead of doing that, I use a knife, and all you do is you take the pencil and you just scrape along here, and it works much better. You get a much sharper point, so you'll often see like points like this. You can get really nice points on these that last a lot longer if you use a knife. So, getting started, I'm going to be working on her fin ears thing. I don't know what they're called. But yeah, so what do you do when you first start coloring? Well, it's important first off that you do not start by pressing down really hard. A lot of people, when they first start drawing, they'll end up pressing down super hard and they'll leave their marks very dark before they even get into any detail. The problem with this is you can't go back over that. If you want to do a lot of shading, you can't really get in there and start shading really well. So you start off in the light areas with a light colored pencil, and you just start coloring. And yes, I have to work upside down, sadly, for your viewing pleasure. So, and I'm sorry if I snuffle a lot, my allergies are killing me this week. So just start coloring in with like a light colored pencil. Whatever's going to be your lightest. It doesn't necessarily have to be your highlight yet. We'll get to that later. Now, I like to start going in with medium tone and just laying it in lightly. Do not press down too hard yet. You want to just get in some very nice medium tones. You don't want to go in too hard yet. If you go all ham all at once, it's not going to turn out nice. So you just want to start laying in color. You don't want to get anything too deep. You don't want to go dark too quickly. So just remember, light is key. And now, as you can see, I have a yellow colored pencil, which is much different than pink. This is because my lighting is yellow, so I really want to get that bright highlights, and I really want to have that yellow glow. And I can press down a little more with this yellow, as you can see, and it starts to blend those pinks together. So anywhere where your highlight is, or where your lighter color is going to be, where your lighting comes down, any backlighting, that's very important. Alright, so now we go back in, and you're going to be switching colored pencils a lot throughout this. And you start going back over that. Alright, now it's time to get dark. So, still not quite as dark as I'm going to go. I've got this magenta color. Just going to start pressing down. As you can see, it starts giving me that nice pink tone. And you can keep going over the original highlight that you drawn in. Unless if it's supposed to be plain white, I do not suggest going over that. Go in. Need to lighten up this area a bit. And you just keep switching back and forth, rendering your image. Now, this is where the white colored pencil comes in. White is very important, actually, in drawing anything. People don't really, this is what the white colored pencil is used for, and people didn't really realize this. It's actually a blender. It's a very nice blender, as well as lightening up the image. As you can see, we come in, and it sort of just blends all of these colors together. You gotta press somewhat hard, though. So it does a nice job of coming in and blending these colors all together very nicely. Now we're gonna go even darker. I've got a darker, it's literally dark purple. And I'm just going to do that along my shadow line. I'm going to come in and add that dark purple. I missed a bit here. And shade along here where this armor piece is. Add some light up here. Come in and finish these bottom fins. It's very important also to keep in mind where your light source is coming from. You don't want to get confused in the middle of it and have like light coming from the bottom as well as the top, unless if there's dual lighting in there. So just keep in mind, where is my light coming from? How does it reflect? Should I have this shadow here? Should I not? Things like that. It's also very important in when you're working with colored pencil, you want to include a lot of different colors. You don't want to just go, okay, so this area is pink, I just want to go with pink. No, you want to include a lot of different colors. I tend, like, when I was working with this green on her face, the very light color was actually yellow instead of green. As you can see, it's coming into her shoulder area. In her whole, like, headdress area, it's not really a headdress, but there's a lot of pale tones as well. It's a lot of yellow as well as the pinks, and then there's a lot of purple in there too. you don't want to just use one plain color, or else the picture will end up looking very static. It won't be very interesting. If you include a lot of different tones, different shades, a lot of different colors, then the image starts to work into being very interesting. There's more colors to look at, and people tend to like looking at a lot of colors, unless if they look bad together, then that kind of sucks. Anyway, so moving on with that. We're going to go to the other side over here. Another thing you can do is, if you're not quite sure like where your highlight area is going to be, highlights tend to be right next to the shadows, like the closest to the shadows. So you can lay down your darkest tone right in there at the time. So you can lay down our very dark right next to our highlight area. But that would end up being the only shadow that we lay in at the time. So we get that very hard, crisp edge. Then we come in with our light tone along the edge of that. And we take our white and press down pretty hard to get that to blend out. Then we continue on with that and lightly go over this area. Now we grab our medium tones, lightly go over the area. Bit more medium tones. And then we get into some darker darks. So basically, the key is, don't go dark too fast, don't put a lot of pressure on it. You want to stay soft really throughout the entire thing. Only once you get to the point where everything is sort of built up do you really want to start pressing hard. If you really need to start putting in like lighter tones in there, like lighten up an image, you can start pressing hard, but really you should try to stay away from pressing down too much on the pencil itself, because you're going to set that tone in very fast, and you don't want that to happen. You want to continue working and build in layers. Just like a painting, you want to build in layers. However, unlike a painting, we can't just build on top of it. We have to keep going. You have to really keep in mind, how thick am I going? Is there too much wax on the page? Because honestly, once you build these up, you'll notice that it's a very smooth, waxy texture, which is very cool. So you know it won't smudge. But just really, the key to working with colored pencil is don't go dark too fast. And that's the same with working with any type of medium, really. Pencil, you don't want to go dark too fast. You don't want to do that with this either. So work light to dark, work soft, and blend pretty much. I'm sort of interested to see how this looks right side up because I'm currently working upside down. And I tend to hop around quite a lot from place to place. I don't like to work on one area for too long. It gets boring. So you can stop on one area and then pick up on it later. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I hope these tips were useful. I know when I was first learning this, these really come in handy. So all you have to do really just really need to practice, and I'll pick this up so you guys can see. Whee! So, this is what the drawing looks like so far. And I'm covering up my camera. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, my hand is very shaky. I don't have a very steady hand because of stuff. But yeah, so I'll have pictures up on my Tumblr soon. Once this is finished mostly, I'll have some work in progress pictures. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you found this useful, and I'll see y'all later.